So out of all the problems that Sony's had over the last couple of months, will they be able to bounce back and give a great or good press conference at least? We're going to talk about that and find out right here on this E3 edition of Cena's Corner.
Cena's Corner.
Alright guys, what's going on? Alright, so we're here to talk about the Sony Press Conference now and all the stuff that came out of there, which was kind of a lot of stuff. Just to give you a heads up, if anybody is bashing Microsoft at this point for having mainly an all-connect type of conference, well, Sony wasn't any better because Sony did mostly a 3D and a Move conference, but they did talk a little bit about the MGP, which is now the real name of that is the PlayStation Vita. So let's just jump into it. First of all, Jack Tretton came out. He was very upbeat, very chipper. He did not make light of the things that has happened to the PlayStation Network in the last couple of months. He did make a wisecrack at the press, that the press is really quick to jump on bad stuff, and he said, "You're welcome," as a lighthearted joke. But he did thank the third parties and all the retailers, and he made a heartfelt apology to the consumers. And I really do feel like that was a heartfelt apology from them, and it does show what a class act that Jack Tretton and Sony is. They say that the PlayStation Network is back to about 90% of where it was before the outage. And they're making sure that the network is secure and more entertaining than it ever has been. On to brighter news, it says that the PS3 is the #1 Netflix streamer with over 33% of their streaming audience all streaming it through the PlayStation 3. They're going to be giving free access to Cinema Now pretty soon, and they have a commitment to all of us, the consumers and the people who play their system, that they're going to continue to add great and innovative content. So that was the opener from Jack Tretton. Then they went on to Naughty Dog to talk about Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception. Now that game is due to come out on my birthday, which is 11/1/2011. The notes I made about it, it looked a lot more stealthier than the other Uncharted has been out there. A lot of hand-to-hand combat, a lot of sneak attack maneuvers, looked really good. They have an online multiplayer, which the online multiplayer beta is going to begin on June 20th. And in October, if you go into a Subway, you're going to be able to play the whole multiplayer game. And they didn't really elaborate on what or Naughty Dog, for that instance, didn't really elaborate on what the whole deal is with Subway. But at least that's what I thought that I heard. So Subway October, you may be going to play the whole experience, but the multiplayer beta is going to begin for Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception on June the 20th. At least, I believe, 5 minutes, he said, of it, or 5 or 10 minutes, somewhere along there, is going to be in 3D. So they're really pushing the 3D element. And Insomniac Games came out and they talked about Resistance 3, which I touched a lot on Resistance 3 in my Microsoft conference. But in this case, they did bring out the 3D element of it. Just to backtrack a little bit, if you missed the Sony press conference, the whole beginning of the press conference was done in 3D. So the theme was kind of set right there. So Resistance 3, they showed you some of that. That was in 3D. It takes place 4 years after Resistance 2. And they say about 3 minutes of the game is in 3D. So I might have got the two confused. But I do know that at least 3 minutes of Resistance is going to be in 3D. And not all of Drake's Deception is. So Resistance 3 is also going to release a bundle pack in September, which if I can remember correctly, because he was going so fast I couldn't get it all down, but I do know it's going to include the game, it's going to include an iToy, as well as a PlayStation Move wand. So you have a whole bundle there. Then they talked about Gods of War Origins, which is going to be remastered for 3D. That's due to come out in September, and it's going to have the older God of War games in that one. Jack Tretton stated that over 100 3D games for the PlayStation is already out. So PlayStation and Sony has decided they need to try to make 3D gaming a little bit more affordable. So I'm going to give you what they said, and you can decide for yourself if you feel like it's more affordable or if it's a little cheaper but not by much. So they came out with a PlayStation 3D display, which you can show all your 3D TV shows, movies, and games on there. And the cool thing about this display is 2 people can play in full screen and not split. So that means if you're playing a multiplayer game where a first-person shooter per se, where usually it was split, say like Call of Duty, where you would get the split screen, on this particular 3D display, it's going to be able to give you full screen. How this works, I don't know, but you're going to be able to sit right next to your buddy, and he's going to have a full screen on the right, and you're going to have a full screen on the left. That is what they are saying is going to happen. And they also want to make 3D glasses a little bit more affordable. If you own a 3D TV, or if you have been pricing them like I have, you would know that these 3D glasses for individual pairs are not cheap. They can go in the range of $100, $120 and upwards. So what they came up with is they wanted to give you the 3D monitor, a pair of glasses, an HDMI cable, a Resistance 3 this fall for the price tag of $499. If you need to buy just the glasses, you can buy an extra pair of those for $69.99. Then they move on to talk about the Move a little bit. 8.8 million moves have been sold since it's been out. And it's coming to some of the biggest brands in the industry. So some of the biggest developers and game brands in the industry is now looking at taking up and making games for the Move. So the one developer they brought out was 2K Sports to talk a little bit about NBA 2K12. Now, I don't know if you are diverse a lot in sports games, but the one thing the NBA 2K wanted to point out is that they've had an excellent franchise, which they have for several years. And that last year's game, or this year's game, the NBA 2K11, they did something that was unthinkable, which they put Michael Jordan not only on the cover of the game, but he was also physically in the game. And he also had challenges that was built around his actual career. If you know anything about basketball, Michael Jordan has never appeared in a video game before that time. So 2K Sports NBA 2K12, they gave you a little bit of stats. It's going to be for the Move. They sold 5 million copies and won 21 Sports Game Awards for NBA 2K11, so they know what they're doing. Now, NBA on the Move is what they call their new feature, and how that works is it's all controlled by the wand. So you basically target a player, and then you press the button. So like if you're on offense and you want to pass the ball to somebody, you would just target that player, push the button, and the ball will be passed to him. If you pass it into another player and you want to shoot, you would hit the shoot button, and then that particular player will go through one of however many animations he may have to shoot the ball. So it's all done by the wand. They said that anybody could play it. It's more realism and more polished than anything, and it's true simulation basketball, again, that anybody can play. So to prove that point, they brought out none other than Laker player, MVP, All-Star, champion, whatever you want to call him, Kobe Bryant, to display that anybody could just pick up this game and play it. Kobe's thoughts on the game was that he felt that the game was so realistic that it was scary. My take on it is it looks cool, but maybe because I haven't played it, but I just somehow can't wrap my head around doing this to control a basketball game. But again, I haven't played it. All right, then they moved on. Let me back up. So NBA 2K12 or NBA on the Move is due to come out October the 4th. All right, so Medieval Moves, actually, I think it's just an expansion to NBA 2K11 that's just coming to the Move. So 2K12 won't come out for a little bit. All right, so Medieval Moves, Dead Man's Crest will be released in fall 2011. This game is phenomenal. Again, it's a move game, so it has no inventory systems at all. Your weapon select is based on the motion that you make. So if you want to pull an arrow, you just reach back here and then your arrow will come out. If you want to throw shooting stars, you do like this, and he knows with those shooting stars. So there is no inventory system to pick the weapon. It's all based on how you move. Again, it's 1-to-1. So what you see is what you're going to get from that game. That's going to be fall 2011. They moved on to Infamous 2, which by the time you see this video, the game will probably already be released. It releases June 7th. I'm shooting this video late night on June 6th. So June 7th, which will be tomorrow from the time I'm shooting this, you can go ahead and pick up Infamous 2. The game looked great. I liked Infamous, the first one. And this one is going to be not disappointing if you are an Infamous fan or you like that type of game. They're going to be having a brand new user content experience this fall that I think is going to be all web-based. Everybody's starting to get into this web-based type stuff to where they can enhance your games. And you're going to be able to create your own content on the move for Infamous 2. So look out for that. Again, that game comes out June 7th. So by the time you watch this, wherever you are, it may already be on store shelves. And then I wanted to go in and talk a little bit about Little Big Planet. Little Big Planet has been one of the biggest games for PlayStation. It's one of the games that made me want to buy a PS3, to be honest. So they want to keep loyal to that particular game, and they do that. So they're going to give you a deeper experience starting in September with Little Big Planet for the Move. You're going to be able to create your own Move content. So think about how crazy that is. With all the content that Little Big Planet already has out, now they're going to give you a deeper Move experience so that you can go and create more Move levels. So only people that have moves be able to play these levels. They've totally, from what we saw, kind of revamped the game so it can incorporate all that kind of stuff. And also, they're going to have an instance on it on the Vita when it comes out. And they've revamped that so that that's what I was getting to. They revamped that, the boxes, so it holds all the stuff that Vita is going to be throwing at it and the things they're going to put in there too. So look for that. Starhawk is going to come out in 2012 from the makers of Lightbox. They just showed a demo and they really talk a whole lot about that one. Then a game that's going to be returning, that PlayStation came out with in 2002. They're going to come back with Sly Cooper, and this time Thieves in Time. That's going to be released sometime in 2012. So that is a franchise that's returning that Jack Tretton said that they've always been asked when they would buy and bring Sly Cooper back. So they're doing that now. CCP came out and talked about Dust 514, which is going to be an exclusive to PS3 title only. It will come out spring of 2012. They say they're going to take the console shooter and connect it to the PC MMO. There's going to be support for Move and support for the PlayStation Vita. Also, it's going to be able to connect to EVE Online. CCP is the same people that connected or that made EVE Online. So they're looking at trying to connect console to PC. Also, they're going to have a closed beta, which would be at the end of the year. Okay, so end of this year, 2011, the closed beta for Dust 514 will be coming out. So make sure you go to PlayStation.com or look up Dust 514 if you want to get in on that beta. Original Games came out and talked about BioShock Infinite, which is the next installment in that line. I believe the guy's name was Dan, came out and pretty much said in so many words he was eating crow because he's made some very not so friendly remarks about Move games like Kinect and Move, and he pretty much bashed Sony and Move, and they wanted to make a believer out of him. So after he got a Move in his office, he began to believe. So he's made BioShock Infinite, where they've come with some definite Move components to that. Also, they're going to be having that on the PlayStation Vita. So BioShock Infinite is going to be on the PlayStation Vita. If you do buy Infinite or BioShock Infinite, you will get the original BioShock on the same disc. So you'll be getting 2 games for the price of 1. Saints Row the Third they moved on to will have exclusive